Hello. So it's a Thursday and I'm on my wellbeing day. I hope you managed to fit in taking yours. We've got up to the end of April for the first one of the year, and I'm very fortunate because over there is Snowdon, and I've been invited up here by a Christian leader to come and go have a day's walking and talking with some guys who lead organisations, Christian organisations around the country. And so at 7:30 this morning we were over that hill and started walking up in sort of just in daylight, something that turned into a scree hill covered in snow, and we were on our hands and knees scrambling up. I'm afraid I didn't cover myself in great glory and that I was a bit of a back marker, and then we hobbled our way down this side, or at least the guy at the front didn't, he ran down more or less, but we have done walking and we've done talking, and we've talked about friends and how you make sure you've given space to having friends. We talked about where we get our significance from. Is it from our work? Is it from who we are? Is it from who we are with God? And we've talked about accepting each other and giving space to do things like this. And we also talked, my favourite phrase of the day, we talked about the fact that stories, and one guy said, are fuel for the battleship of his organisation. And I'm just really grateful again that I can turn to you and say, we're trying to do this report back to a funder, and in this case Charlie was able to give me 3 or 4 stories of just what's been going on at the recovery walks and the recovery day. So Charlie, you were saying there's an occupational therapist from St Anne's Hospital bringing along a client who just needs something to do on a Monday, and that's made a massive difference to their health. There's someone coming along because it doesn't cost anything, and it's a walk that's really helping with their diabetes as well as their addiction journey. And one chap who's been sober for 8 months and actually coming along gives him space to continue that journey and even come to church. So lots of stories from just that little thing of running a recovery walk and not having to do it up and down hills like here. So I just wondered whether there are other stories that we can continue to tell each other to encourage each other, and things like there are stories also from around the towns. I was on the Homelessness Forum this week, and you'll see some press notices next week about the fact that the national street count, which was done in November, came again. Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole will be out really high, so somewhere in the 60s for the number of sleepers that were counted in November. Actually, since then, because there's been a couple of episodes of SWEP, and over 50% of the 100 plus people who came in during SWEP have stayed in, they reckon the numbers are down to around 20. But we still need the work that Claire and David and some of the volunteers do at half time, and at In Touch, the thing down at Lansdowne Church twice a week, where that connection station is that point where people who don't really know where else to turn and maybe haven't had a good experience with the council can come along. I know that's happening at Christchurch Food Bank as well, and others of you are seeing people in different states of homelessness. But Claire is now doing some work that is sort of linking her up with the council. So it's great. There's the 2 of the council workers actually came and shadowed Claire last week, and they have a much better understanding of what we do. We want to increase that. Partly we want to increase it because you've heard maybe us talking about St Stephen's Church Hall as a place which could be a point of really that life centre idea, but for those in homelessness. Health and housing and work and restoration in all sorts of ways. Prayer as well from the church across the way. Well, it's a bit of a journey. You'll have seen maybe the council agreed some funding, and there's other funding going to come in from the Business Improvement District and things like that. So that's great, but we're still battling with the lease. So that's why we haven't been able to say any more, because the lease hasn't been signed off, but we're hopeful maybe that conversations in the next 2 weeks will release something on that. Meantime, thank you for all of you involved in this work. And there are other stories as well. I know some of you use Acts 4:35 a lot, and did you see in Claire's note that actually the limit of how much you get from a single application has gone up to £200? So again, we might want to just keep that in our back pocket and continue to use Acts 4:35. And indeed, there's some other, I know the folk up in Wimborne use Acts for sharing. Paul, I stood down at Jimmy's, lovely things from the Wardrobe Foundation in terms of packs of clothes for women, and the relationships you have there. Those little partnerships also tell us good stories, so they're more fuel for our battleship, if you like. There were other things in Claire's email, hope you saw some of that, things around social media training, and again we had a safeguarding concern in, I think it was in Blandford this week, which Heidi picked up and did a great job of responding to. But we want to just don't feel sort of worried about passing on any safeguarding concerns, because we want to use those to learn more about how we can respond to in other circumstances. So please do pass those on. And those of you who are looking at de-escalation training, there's an opportunity at the start of March. We've got about 17 spaces over a couple of days for an afternoon training there. It looks like really great training, so if you haven't signed up there, please do make an effort to sign up. So I was just thinking about, we were talking as we were up that hill this morning about friendship, and there's that great verse that Jesus says in John's Gospel, I don't call you servants anymore, I call you friends. So we can be friends to each other, but what a privilege, I think, to have also the opportunity to be friends with Jesus. I'm going to go and have a shower now and try and ease some achy limbs, and I'll see you back down in Bournemouth very soon. Take care of yourselves. Thanks so much.